Okay, so let's start. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pate Namaha Sarva Ishta Nivarakam Shubhagaram Pingla Shamapakam Sitanveshna Tatparam Kavivaram Kodinda Surya Prabham Lanka Deepa Bhayankaram Sakalapam Sugriva Sammanidam Devendradi Samasta Devanidam Kagastutam Baje Kyataka Sri Ramadutaha Pavanattanubhavaha Pinglaha Shikavan Sita Ashoka Pahari Dashamuga Vijay Lakshmana Prananatha Anedam Bejadrehe Lavana Jalanidehe Langane Dishadoryo Yahavira Shriman Hanuman Mo Manasi Vasankari Siddham Tanodu Manojapam Marutulya Begam Jidendriyam Buddhimadam Varishtam Vadatmajam Manarayuta Mukyam Sri Ramadutam Shirasanamami Buddhirbalam Yashodhairyam Nirbayaktum Arogada Ajatyam Bhakpadat Panchasi Hanumat Smaranat Pavet Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Nama Raname Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman Ki Jai. So, welcome one and all to this fourth day of Ramayana Lectures. In fact, we have been seeing in a series of lectures and in depth this beautiful epic written by Valmiki. It is no less than a magnum opus, and I welcome all the devotees who have joined in new, and I also welcome all the devotees who have made time today. I was getting a lot of requests for putting these um, videos on YouTube, which we have done. So I would be sharing with you the links as well. So in case you have missed out some sessions for the future audience, and whenever we forget some notes that we have actually not been able to capture, so you can always go back on my channel and view these lectures. So thank you for the overwhelming support and interest shown during the lockdown. We have so many things to do, but we are all here together to hear about the glories of Lord Ramchandra. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says very, very clearly that one who is interested in sharing Krishna Katha with the devotees, that is the highest relishing ecstasy that one person can get. So here we are, Tushyanticha Ramanticha, what Gita Charya Krishna has actually said. We are trying to share some pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. So yesterday, a quick recap of what we have covered so far. As we go into the lectures, the recap becomes more and more. The first day recap is very easy because I have to only recap 1 hour of lecture. But as we now go, it becomes more and more difficult. So my recap would be lessened up to a certain time span, and hence it would be important for us if we need to really get into the depth to go back and read all those or view all those YouTube videos. So, what we had actually seen is that we saw Vedic scriptures, and in that we saw how Itihasas and Puranas are important. And in which section does Ramayana fall? It falls under Itihasas. And in Itihasas, it compares with the mighty, voluminous Mahabharata, which is Sapada Lakshak Grantham, which is 1,25,000 verses. But because more amount of pastimes of the Lord is described in Ramayana, Ramayana is given a higher precedence over Mahabharata as well. And in Ramayana, we saw that there are 7 Kandas, and it is glorious that even if we utter the name of 7 Kandas, and all those Kandas are none other than Bala Kanda, Ayodhya Kanda, Aranya Kanda, Kishkinda Kanda, Sundara Kanda, Uttara Kanda, and Yuddha Kanda, and finally Uttara Kanda. So these 7 Kandas are, or the chapters are the primordial segregations in Valmiki Ramayana. In other Ramayans, like somebody asked a question yesterday, I think it was Vishal Prabhu, when he asked the question that what about Tulsidas Ramcharitmanas? Some of these kandas are little changed in the name. For example, Yuddha Kanda is also called as Lanka Kand in Ramcharitmanas. So, nevertheless, but mostly all the Ramayans have these 7 Kandas, and we saw that how we started off with Uttarakanda, that that is where the real start is, where we saw about banishment of Sita to the forest and how she comes to sage Valmiki's ashram, and Valmiki is thinking about who is that person who actually banished. I was given this name of Lord Ramchandra by the Saptarishis. Is he really the greatest person on this planet Earth as of now? And what are his qualities? So, this was his question which was running on top of his mind. And when he actually had that question, he said the first verse looking at Narad Maharishi. And what is the sloka? What are the 16 qualities? We saw the 16 qualities starting with Konasmin Sampratam Loke Gunavan Viryavan Dharmagyasya Kritagyasya Satyavakyo Dridhabrita Charitrena Chako Yukta. Like that, we saw 16 different qualities of Lord Ramchandra yesterday. And I said that Narada was sitting and listening to all of these questions. So today we start from there. What happened next? And what did Valmiki do? That is what we are going to talk about today. And hence we are further going into Balakanda. So let us try till reaching up to appearance of Lord Ramchandra today. That is my aim. Let's see how much we can cover. I don't generally push the lectures for the sake of pushing, but if we understand the concepts and relish the pastimes, it's more important. And we will also learn today a lot of lessons that we can take back. So one thing you might have noticed today is, let me tell you, there is no second link. This is the one link. It will go for 2 hours, so you don't need to disconnect and connect again. So somehow we managed that due to some sponsorships. We have got a good version of Zoom, so please do not mind on it. So be on this channel. I will not be telling you to disconnect and connect again. So I heard that it was a lot of hassle, it was a lot of difficulties, so you don't have to do that again. So without further ado, let's go ahead. So yesterday we saw how wonderfully Valmiki had requested for these 16 qualities, and he asked Narada Muni that please tell me who is the person in Sampratam Loke, who is the person in the current world who is having these qualities. In fact, this is a common version of question which many people ask. Many people have got this misconception that Valmiki ji wrote Ramayana looking at Trikal Gyan, in the sense that Lord Ramchandra had come and gone, and after that he wrote Ramayana. That is an incorrect understanding. In fact, you go to the most popular internet sites like Quora and others, which is the worst source for collecting information. The best source is Srila Prabhupada's books, Acharya's books, Acharya's commentaries. But if you go to those websites and read, there will be nonsense written in so many ways. that we should actually thrash them. So if you actually see this question, when did Valmiki write Ramayana? We actually talked about it yesterday, that Lord Ramchandra, when he was appearing in this Mother Earth, on this Mother Earth, the Saptarishis got to know that Lord Ramchandra had appeared, and they had gone to the forest within 1 year. At that time, the person called as Harith, who later became Valmiki, abducted the Saptarishis and he kept them as hostages, and then he got the name Rama. Next 25, 30 years, he practiced meditation on the name of Lord Rama, chanting the name of Rama. He was enlightened as the great sage called as Valmiki. By the time the 25th year, Lord Ramchandra also got exile, and he also came with Mother Sita to Valmiki ashram. So that shloka will also come in Aranya Kanda. So it clearly says that Valmiki was living during the times of Lord Ramchandra. It is just that he did not have a vision or understanding of Balakanda of Lord Ramchandra. In fact, when he came to the forest and then later of the pastimes, he knows. But what happened by the time when he was meditating and he was meditating on Lord Ramchandra, he did not know the pastimes. So hence, we will get to know today how was it possible for Valmiki to write something that he did not know by his memory. So we will see that also today. So when Valmiki Maharishi asked these questions to Narada, we saw a very beautiful concept yesterday, that Narada Maharishi, did he give the answer immediately? What did I say yesterday? Did Narada Maharishi immediately did he give the answer, or did he not give the answer?
He waited, and then he relished all those 16 uh, glories of the Lord, and then he started speaking.
Absolutely correct. Thank you, Parakrami Path Prabhu. So that's absolutely correct. What he did was that he did not immediately give the answer. तुरंत उन्होंने answer नहीं दिया. What he did was that he actually heard all the 16 qualities. And the example we gave yesterday was somebody playing music, and he asks if our Jai Prabhu plays Mridanga, and he asks us, Jai Prabhuji, how did I play? Before he starts playing, if I say, Jai, you played very wonderfully, then Jai will think that something is wrong is happening. So because before playing Mridanga, how can you say that I have actually played well? So, in fact, it is very important for us to actually listen to the music, relish it, and then give an answer. Similarly, Narada Maharishi, he actually heard the 16 qualities, remembered the Lord's 16 qualities, which we spoke about yesterday, and remembered all of them. Now, we have to remember that Narada Maharishi is also a great Vidwan, is also a great scholar. Now, in the material world, if you look at the scholars, what happens is that the scholars of the material world, they might be doing some PhDs on a certain small topic. If you actually go and tell them, oh, you are a doctor, can you talk about COVID-19? He will say, no, no, I'm a veterinary doctor. I know only about, animals. I would not know anything about the other species. In animals also, I know only herbivores. I would not know about carnivores. Like that, they are actually very specific to a topic. But Lord Ramchandra, as one of the quality, was Vidwan, a scholar, and similarly Narada, being a devotee of the Lord, he is also a scholarly. He knows about all topics. He can speak about any topic. He can, in fact, start a Zoom session and you tell him, Prabhuji, choose any topic, give him Brahmanda Purana, he will talk about Brahmanda Purana. Give him Skanda Purana, he will talk about Skanda Purana. Give him, tell to talk him about the modern Vishanus because of which we are all suffering, he will talk about that. Any topic that you give to Narad Muni, he was very scholarly. So, because being a scholar, he remembered all the qualities of the Lord. And when he remembered, he relished it. And when he relished it, he started drooling with the taste of Lord Ramchandra's name, because that is what he's been always chanting on his tambura. He relished that taste and he said the beautiful verse that all these qualities, Valmiki, whom you are looking into, that person is none other than Lord Ramachandra. So this was the verse told by Narada. So Valmiki heard it for the first time that it is Ramchandra. Yes, it's the same name that I am meditating, and he was thinking how it is so. So Narada very briefly in the first chapter describes the whole Ramayana. In fact, in the most efficient way, in 10 to 15 verses, he actually speaks out the entire Ramayana, starting from how he appeared in Balakanda and up to Yuddha Kanda, how he defeated Ravana and how he went back home, back to Godhead. Entire Ramayana is spoken by Narada to Valmiki in a very condensed form. Many people today, if they don't have the time, what they do is they read this Sankshipta Ramayan, which is what Narada Muni had given to Valmiki. And in fact, it has some slokas from each Balakanda, Yuddhakanda, Aranyakanda. It has three slokas in everywhere, where it forms around 20 to 21 slokas. So if somebody reads those 21 slokas, they get the benefit of reading the entire 24,000 verses. So do not worry. After this, I will share with you this lecture. I'll share with you the Sankshipta Ramayana of those 21 verses every day. If you cannot read Ramayana, just read those 21 verses. The benefit is the same. So Narada Maharishi actually gave those 21 verses and he left. And when he left, Valmiki looked at his watch and he found that it was the time to actually go and take a bath. Because he was wondering and this conversation was happening, it took some time and he lost some time. So he wanted to go and take a bath. So Ganga was a little far away. So by the Bhagirathi river, he actually went and he was about to take a bath. When he was about to take a bath, at that time, he actually saw a great sight. He was walking through the banks of the river, and he along with him was one other disciple of his, Bharadwaja. He was also walking along with Valmiki carrying his paraphernalia. Valmiki was walking in front and he was passing through the small meadows and bushes and different routes of the jungle before he reached the river bank. So while he was passing through the forest, he saw that there were nice shrubs, leaves, fruits, a gusty wind was blowing by, the cuckoos were making nice, good sounds, the crows were cawing here and there, but at the same time there were birds of different nature, and every scenario was very wonderful. Nowadays, if you actually go out in the sun or in outside, you only get to hear the crows cawing. There were no crows crowing. Generally, it is not considered as a very melodious sound. In fact, the best blue nightingales, cuckoos, there are different types of birds. There are kulinga birds. All these descriptions were given at how they were actually singing out very nicely and creating a very melodious and a very wonderful divine atmosphere. At that time, when his eyes, Valmiki's eyes, fell upon a great tree, and on top of the tree were two crowncha birds. Crownchas are generally crane like birds, and they are specifically known for a particular reason that the crowncha birds, the male and the female, are very attached to each other. In fact, in Bollywood terms, we call them as lovebirds. When you say them as lovebirds, that means that one bird cannot be removed from the another. Both of them will be very attracted to each other. So, in fact, it was in such a way that these two crowncha birds were sitting on top and they were in the moment of love making, they were kissing each other, so much so that they could not be separated at all. The crowncha birds are in such a way that one's beak will be always inside the beak of the another. So they were in that form and they were enjoying the atmosphere at that particular place. And Valmiki saw that and he saw all the animals and birds and everybody are kind of happy and he was feeling satisfied. And at that very moment, when he blinked his eye, the next scene that he saw was he was very much astonished. What he saw was that male bird, which was on the top, it, which was with the female bird, it had actually dropped down. And on when it dropped down on its chest was a hunter's arrow, and there was blood oozing out from his chest. And the female bird was crying, and it was actually seeing blood in its beak because the hunter's arrow actually hit the chest of the male crowncha bird, and that blood had also splattered onto her. She was also crying, and she was also about to leave the body of her. And this sight was very ghastly. This sight was very much unbearable. And Valmiki was thinking, how come this is possible? And he saw an hunter actually shooting the arrow and suddenly vanishing. At that time, his heart plunged into a lot of distress. At that time, what happened was he could not bear the basic, uh, the basic problem of what he could see, as that somebody could do such a heinous act. Somebody could actually take up an arrow and shoot at a bird. Now, what do we learn from here? A very great concept that we learn here is, how are we devotees supposed to function naturally? We are supposed to function as para dukkha dukhi. That means if somebody is undergoing a difficulty, we should feel sad. Not that जो हुआ अच्छा हुआ, उसके ऊपर पत्थर लगा, दो और पत्थर मारो. We are not people who are actually thinking like that. If somebody falls down, we should feel bad. In fact, I knew of a devotee. When somebody was in the temple, he was dancing very well during Gaura Arati, and suddenly his leg slipped and he fell down. And at that time, a very senior sannyasi was there. The first thing he called out was Haribol, Haribol, and he immediately came running, leaving everything, leaving the paraphernalias of the Lord to pick that devotee up. Whereas some of the newer brahmacharis saw that their friend has fallen down and they were laughing. When the sannyasi actually saw that, and he said, what kind of Vaishnavas are you? Generally, the Vaishnavas are para dukkha dukhi. We should actually be sad, not from an external emotion. Our heart should melt when we see that the other devotees are undergoing difficulty. The person who actually is para dukkha sukhi, that means when somebody else is going through difficulty, and if we become very happy, then that is not a very good quality. That quality is not very well accepted in the Vaishnava etiquette. So, whenever devotees undergo difficulty, we actually should check within ourselves, are we getting happy or are we getting sad? So, in this case, Valmiki is not happy at all, not because it is happening to a human being. Valmiki is actually sad for another living entity, which is like a bird. Now, this is the greatness of Valmiki, or greatness of Uttama Adhikari devotees, those who are on the highest stage of devotion. Because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that Pandita Samadarshina, everybody, the Pandita, one who is actually a Pandit, one who is known the supreme science, he actually sees Krishna in all living entities. So, this is very important to see that Valmiki Maharishi actually felt sad. He felt very distressed, and out of his distress, that this wonderful sight of two crowncha birds enjoying, and they were happy in a family life, and suddenly this fell down, he immediately an anger and a resentment raised with his in his heart, and all the 32 emotions started to form at the top of his belly, and that 32 emotions started coming on top of his chest. It started coming on top of his neck. It started to come, all the 32 emotions of a human being, of distasteful and anger and all of that, formed the 32 different bubbles in his mouth, and out came a shloka. In fact, the acharyas comment, because it was the shoka. Shoka means in Hindi or in Sanskrit, it means distress or unhappiness. Because he was unhappy or he was distressed, the shoka became shloka, and that was the first shloka that ever anybody heard in this cosmic manifestation. And that particular shloka is a very famous shloka, and that became the first verse of Ramayana. So we will read that shloka so that everybody, and just like the other shloka that we heard from Valmiki, which is Konasmin Sampradam Loke, which is a very famous verse of asking the glories of the Lord. Similarly, we will also read this shloka because this is very, very important. So let's go ahead and read this. I don't want to make a mistake, so let me just read it. Give me a minute. Okay, here it goes. The first verse says that when he was actually sad, he said, Ma nishada pratishtaam tvamagamaha shashwati samaha yat krauncha mituna deka bhavadim kama mohitam. Now, this sloka I will repeat again and again throughout the whole lecture because this particular shloka is the first shloka of the epic when Valmiki starts writing Ramayana. And as you know, all these shlokas, which is the first shloka, has to be so potent with so many meanings. You will be astonished that this one shloka itself has 60 to 70 pages of commentary by each acharya, giving 60, 70 meanings of what did Valmiki mean by this shloka. We do not have time to look at 60, 70 commentaries, but we will look at the top commentaries to understand what this shloka says. The shloka says, Ma nishada pratishtam tvamagamaha shashwati sama. It starts as an anger, and in the anger, he is giving a curse. He is saying, O hunter, by which reason you have killed one bird of the couple? Who was the couple? The Krauncha birds were the couple. And when the two birds were there sitting on the tree, he's saying, O cruel hunter, O violent hunter, what is the reason that you actually shot this arrow? When it was infatuated by passion, they were enjoying with each other. At that time, you shot the arrow. For that reason, yat krauncha mituna devam avadim kama mohitam pratishtam tvamagamaha shashwati samaha. He's saying, because you shot that arrow, for that reason, you will never get a state of rest for everlasting years to come. In fact, he actually cursed the hunter to say that because you shot this arrow, you will never find peace. And at that particular time, when he said that, he didn't know what was uttered. Nobody understood what was uttered because never before such a beautiful combination of 32 letters were forming together to form a shloka. Any shloka which is having 32 different meters is actually called as anushtup in Sanskrit. Anushtup Chandaha, that's what we say. So all the slokas in Valmiki's Ramayana has these 32 syllables coming in and out, and it is in the Anushtup Chanda meter. If you take 8 off, that means if you take minus 8 from 32, you get 24. 24 is called as Gayatri Chandaha. So, in fact, there are some hidden secrets in Ramayana also. When the time comes, I will tell you. There is a great mathematical number system in Ramayana as well. In fact, if you pick up certain words of each Kanda from the first word, second word of the every first verse of Valmiki Ramayana, in fact, and if you form it as a pearl, you will actually get the Gayatri Mantra. Such is the great divinity of Valmiki that he actually wrote thinking about so many different things. But here he was talking about a hunter, and that was the first verse which came as a shloka in the Anushtup Chanda meter, and it was a curse. And he was really fascinated. What did he say? And he was thinking, Narada just came and told me, glorify Lord Ramchandra. That is what he told me to do. And the first thing I wanted to was write a poem for the glorification of Lord Ramchandra. And the first poem that came out of my mind was a curse. And he didn't know what he said. So he looked at his disciple Bharadwaja and he asked Bharadwaja, hey, what did I say right now? Do you know what did I say? And Bharadwaja was a Shrutigana. Shrutigana means not the people that we find in nowadays schools and colleges. Schools and colleges, even if you give classroom notes, homework notes, tuition notes, still people will not understand what was being taught in the subject because the teacher themselves do not know what was taught in the subject. Shrutigana means once they hear, they will remember all that was told. So Bharadwaja was such a great disciple that he said, Guru Maharaj, whatever you said, you might not remember, but I actually heard it and I remembered and I can repeat it. And he repeated again, Ma Nishada pratishtaam tamagamaha shashwati sama yat krauncha miduna devam Bhamaga Kamamohityam. He actually repeated it. And Valmiki said, repeat it again, repeat it again. Let me find out if there is some mistake that I have committed. It cannot be a curse. But he was bewildered. He did not know what to do. So he went back to his ashram. And Bharadwaja was also coming. And when he actually entered his ashram, at the parking lot, he saw a very great scene. He saw that generally in his parking lot will be some deers moving around, some elephants will be moving around, some rabbits will be playing around. Today there were golden swans in his parking lot. And when he clearly looked at those swans, he got to know that the swans were not coming from this forest. In fact, it was coming straight away from Satya Loka, and it was the swans of Lord Brahma. And he was astonished. Seems like Brahma himself has come to my cottage. Imagine you're all in a lockdown, and one day there is a calling bell which is actually ringing, and you open and you see Modi right in front of you and saying, are you in a lockdown? So when he actually says that, you will all be feeling, oh my God, who has come to our house? If for a normal citizen country's prime minister we feel like that, just imagine in the cottage of Valmiki, who is coming? Lord Brahma himself is coming. And Lord Brahma did not ask whether I should come in or not. He was already seated on the Vyasasan of Valmiki. So Valmiki paid full obeisances. He did dandavats and he said, Lord Brahma, why have you come here? In fact, it is such a great fortune for this hermitage that you are here. And Brahma said, I will answer that question, but first I see a lot of depression on your face. Can you tell me what is the reason? See, this is another beautiful learning that we should hear. Nowadays, when I talk to youngsters or a little adults, they sometimes come and tell to me that they are under depression. When I was studying in my school and college, this word was attributed only to Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. Only the weather report will say that there is depression in Bay of Bengal, there is depression in Arabian Sea, and then there is a rain which is going to come and it will come over Kerala and Tamil Nadu and it will rain for some time. First time I was hearing this word that there is depression in human beings also, and that means that they will be secluded in one place, they will not talk to anybody, and they will have their rains coming from their cheeks. So this is not very astonishing because our modern day system has become so much that though we are calling we need physical social distancing, but actually in the heart we are socially distanced so much from eternal relationships between devotees. Physically we have distanced ourselves to certain meters, but in the heart we have actually distanced ourselves for quite a long distance. And when we go away from devotees, what naturally happens is depression. We get succumb to our sense gratifications and we move away. Anyway, this was not that cause of material depression. Here, Valmiki was astonished that how come he spoke about a curse rather than glorification of Lord Ramchandra. Then Brahma, when he asked, Bharadwaj Muni and Valmiki both said, what happened and what did he see? And he said, due to this, I am very sad. Brahma smiled. He said, what you are thinking as a curse is actually not a curse. In fact, what you have given is a blessing. Now, this is very astonishing. If you read the Sanskrit shloka, it is very clear. It is a curse because you shot the arrow on the Krauncha bird. You will never find peace and tranquility, is the statement. But how come this is actually translating into a state of happiness? And Brahma actually explained this. He said, what is the first letter of this shloka? The first letter of this shloka is Ma. Ma Nishada pratishtaam. The first letter is Ma. Ma means don't, but at the same time, Ma also means Mother Lakshmi. That's why we say Jaya Radha Madhava. Madhava means one who has the Lord Lakshmi in his heart, Srimati Radharani in his heart. Jaya Radha Madhava. So Ma also means Mother Lakshmi. So he said, because you started with the word Ma, because Lakshmi, she's all auspicious. So do not worry. The first verse that you actually spoke with the first letter is the Mangalacharan. That's why we start Mangalacharan also with the word Ma. Mangal, Ma. All these words are associated, and that's the first letter of Ramayana. So it forms like the Mangalacharan to Ramayana that he is going to write. So Ma Nishada Pradishtam, the very word Ma becomes the Mangalacharan. Then Valmiki got a little satisfied. He said, okay, somebody is giving me the meaning I was looking to understand. Then he said, the second word that you said was Nishada. Nishada means one who is actually a hunter. Now, what is a hunter? Why is he called a Nishada? Generally, the race of people who are untouchables are called as Nishada. There was in Kreta Yuga and Krita Yuga, that is Satyuga and Treta Yuga, there were certain castes of people because of their abominable actions, because of their non-vegetarian eating and their scrupulous activities. Brahminical people will be staying away from them. This was not a caste system. This was to protect their divinity and their activities. Guna karma vibhagashaha. So please do not misunderstand that these verses are actually indicating a caste system in Ramayana. That is not the case. So, Nishada, who is Nishada? We have to go to Srimad Bhagavatam to understand this word Nishada. Now, again, as I said, for many of you, this might be looking very technical, but as I said, Ramayana has to be relished and every word, and this is the first verse of Ramayana, so we should know it in depth. Nishada means in Srimad Bhagavatam, all of you might have heard this pastime of a king called as Vena. This king Vena was a very great king, but he was very scrupulous as well. So when he died, when King Vena died, all the rishis, they said that you have to protect them in a proper oil, and what we have to do is we have to churn his thighs. And they all started churning the thighs after applying oil to his dead body, and very dark oriented person, he actually emerged from his body, and he was having a lot of sins on his body. And immediately the sage said, Atra Nishadaha. That means you go and sit aside. Don't sit with us right now because you are full of sins. So when Nishada iti, Nishida iti, that means one who has been told to just step aside and be aside, he is called as Nishada. But look at the greatness of Lord Ramchandra, which we saw yesterday. There is a great verse written by a poet where he says, Nishadanam neta kapi kulapati kapi shabari kuchela kubja sa vraja yuvato malya kriditi amisham nimnatvam vrishagiri patre numati prabhuttai sroto vi prasabham hi anukampe samayasi. Now this particular shloka is actually given in one of the greatest works of Daya Shatakam, where 100 words or 1000 verses are actually given in Shatakam means 100 verses. So 100 verses are given in the glorification of the mercy of Lord of which is flowing. And in that it says the Lord, actually we saw yesterday one of the first qualities which is Gunavan, where the Lord actually is like the water which flows from the top, from a higher altitude to a lower altitude. It doesn't see whether the lower altitude is ubad khabad, uneven. Even if there is rocks, it will flow. Even if there are small pebbles, the water will flow. If it is muddy, the water will flow. If it is clayish, the water will flow. If it is hard, the water will flow. The higher water will never see what the lower ground is like. Similarly, this verse says, Lord Ramchandra's mercy flows from the top to all the different classes of men. And in particular, in this verse, it says how he has been very, very merciful to the Nishada class of people. And in some of them, he takes the help of the examples Guha. Guha, who is the Kevat, whom we know in Hindi as Kevat, he is the king of Nishadas. For him also he showers the mercy. Shabari is another clan of a different Shudra caste. Him also he showers the mercy. A Brahmana, Kuchela, in Dwaraka Leela, where though he's a Brahmanical in nature, but he is not having much of wealth, again at a lower position than Dwarakadish, still he showers the mercy. Also, he sees that he showers the mercy to Kubja. If you read Krishna book, when Krishna enters Dwarka, you will actually see that he gives the mercy to Kubja, and he also gives mercy to demons and others alike. So such is the greatness. So he says that Brahma says Ma Nishada. Ma stands for Mangalacharan. Nishada is actually the hunter, and Nishada also stands for where mother resides. Where is Lakshmi residing? A very simple question. Where does Lakshmi reside? Always serving the Lord. What is the name of that place?
Vishnu Loka,
Vishnu Loka, but a very popular name that we all know, we all want to go to. Which is that place?
Vaikuntha.
Vaikunta. Absolutely right. So where Mother Lakshmi actually resides is Vaikunta. And so he says, Ma Nishada, you are actually talking about Vaikunta. Ma Nishada pratishtaam twamagamaha. Pratishtaam tvam agamaha. So Ma Nishada means that Lord Vishnu who is there in Vaikunta, pratishtaam tvam agamaha. That means pratishta means was very obedient. So that person was very obedient to whom? To his father. So that person who was very obedient to his father, Shashwati Sama. He all Shashwati means he always eternally started living. So look at the curse. The curse was you will be eternally not peaceful. And the other side, Brahma is looking at a positive way. You will eternally sometimes live in the forests. If seemingly eternally you will live in the forest. So that Lord Vishnu, who actually following the orders of his father, will dwell in the forest. Yet Krauncha Mituna Devam. Krauncha Mituna Devam. Who are the Krauncha birds? In fact, in Ramayana, there are many Krauncha birds like Vali and Tara. There is Ravana and Mandodari. And there is also the example of Akampana and his wife. So all these are demons, or all these are negative characters who are very passionately attached to each other. And it says, Yat krauncha mitana deham mamadam kama mohitam, and they are attracted to each other. Ravana is very attracted by lust. Vali is very attracted to his own wife in a mode of passion. Akampana is very attracted to his own wife in a mode of passion. All these people are very attracted, and this Lord will come. And what he will do, he will krauncha mitana devam. He will actually shoot the arrow, and he will end this particular passion. And mamadam kama mohitam, and again he will be himself attracted to his wife a lot, who will actually depart from him in the later stages. So in fact, in this first sloka, if you'll see, Ma Nishada is Balakanda, where it's actually saying Mother Lakshmi and Lord Ramchandra both are born. Pratishtan Tomamagamaha is actually following the footsteps of the father, is nothing but Ayodhya Kanda. Third, Shashwati Sama, eradicate the demons and always dwell in the forest, is Aranya Kanda. And then Krauncha Mithuna, it is also standing for Kishkinda Kanda and similarly for Sundara Kanda. And finally, Kama Mohitam, he will finish that, that is Yuddha Kanda. And finally, he will also get separated from his wife is also a wonderful pastime, which is Uttarakanda. So this first verse, which seems like a curse, was actually an introduction to the seven kandas of Ramayana, which was beautifully explained by Brahma. The second meaning that he gave, actually, that tree was me. And Valmiki said, "You were the tree?" He said, "Yes." And actually, those birds, they were the one of the bird was Ravana, and he was trying to lustfully attack on Mother Sita. And you, who is Lord Rama, he came and shot Ravana and protected Mother Sita. So you actually see the meaning in that way also. So like this, he explained different meanings to Valmiki, and then Valmiki understood that this is actually correct. In fact, what I thought as verse, which is actually a curse, is actually the introduction to Lord Ramchandra's pastimes. He described the contents. Look at the beauty of Ramayana. In fact, in any book, if you flip, the first page is page of contents, and everybody has to write it. Page number 34 is chapter number 1. Page number 38 is chapter number 2. 62 is chapter number 3. Somebody has to give this clearly in writing. But in this great epic called as Ramayana, the very contents in itself is also written down in a very beautiful form of shloka, which is the first shloka of Ramayana and also the Mangalacharan. So he paid repeated obeisances to Lord Brahma, and he said, "Lord Brahma, I am so grateful to you. And I was actually thinking that I had committed a great mistake, but here you are who have saved me from my agony." Another great learning that we learn from here. Whenever we are depressed because our action, because of our actions, we feel that we have committed a great sin, or we feel that we have not actually done something right. We are depressed and we are seeing helter skelter to understand whether we did it right or wrong, and we are not able to find a solution. The first thing we have to go and do is fall at the lotus feet of our superiors, because only our superiors, our counselors, can give us this direction of where we are going wrong. One is Vani, another is Vapu. Vani means the divine sound given by the acharyas. Vapu is the physical body of the acharya. What the acharya does is actually he can hold your ear and tweak, because how much ever we read books, we can get the vani. It is important, and Krishna actually reveals it to us. But when we actually physically associate with a devotee, he has the liberty to give our ear. He will hold the ear and he will pinch it, and he will say, or she will say, that you are actually doing it wrong. So Brahma was here guiding Valmiki towards writing Ramayana. Similarly, in our life also, we should lend our ears to hear the Vani, and we should also lend our ears to get it tweaked by a Bhagavata devotee. So these ear is actually a greatest medium for us to reach to Krishna, which is by lending the golden words from the acharyas entering into our heart, that will actually take us to Krishna. And by getting our ears tweaked, it will take us to Krishna. So this is a great learning that Valmiki is providing, that we should go to our superiors when we are completely dumbfounded that what is happening to us, what is making sense, or it is not making sense to us. The greatest another example of this particular paradigm is Bharata, and we will talk about him when we come to him, because he is an embodiment of a person. He is a person of a character where nothing was wrong and the whole world was blaming him. In fact, his name was Bharata, famous for this particular fact. He was carrying the bhara means the burden, on top of his head of a mistake which he has never committed. Imagine somebody calls you to do a wonderful dish in the kitchen, and it is not your mistake, that somebody else did a mistake in the kitchen, and the headmistress of the kitchen comes to you, or the host of the house comes to you and starts blasting you left, right, and center. and you try to explain them that, look, this was not an activity which was supposed to be done by me. This is not a mistake that is done by me. Actually, this mistake was done by this person. I am not at fault here. And genuinely, you are telling, very honestly, you are telling the truth. But still, if the person keeps on blasting on you, what will we do? We will also roll up our sleeves and we will also give two responses back. But Bharata was not like this. Bharata was blamed by Ayodhya Vasis. Bharata was blamed by Kaikeyi. Bharata was blamed by Kausalya Mata. Bharata was blamed by Dasharatha, his own father. Bharata was blamed by Sumantra. Bharata was blamed by Guha. Bharata was blamed by Lakshmana. The only person who didn't blame Bharata was Lord Ramchandra. And still taking all the blames on him, though he has not done a single mistake, he had to walk on this planet Earth for 14 years while Lord Ramchandra was away. That is why at some times Valmiki says, I do not know about Lakshmana, but if I have to call somebody the greatest, the second greatest, remember this what I'm saying. If someone I have to say is second greatest, that is Bharata. So you might be thinking, Prabhuji, who is the first greatest person? That is none other than the person who served Bharata, who is none other than Shatrughna. So, in fact, we hear very little about Shatrughna, but Shatrughna is the greatest person, greatest devotee, most favorite for Lord Ramchandra, because Lakshmana was serving Lord Ramchandra directly, but here Shatrughna was serving Bharata, who was serving Lord Ramchandra. Tava brittasya 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 itimam smaram lokanata, says Kulashekar Alvar in Mukundamala Stotra. He says, I am interested in that devotee who is my das anudas 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 anudas, not boss 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 boss. So we are not interested in becoming bosses. We are interested in becoming the dasas of this world, the servants of this world. So Shatrughna was in fact involved in Bhagavata Seva, so he was more pleasing to Lord, whereas Bharata carrying the entire burden of a mistake which he has not done. So similarly, in this case also we learn that even though sometimes mistake is not ours, when our superiors actually chastise us, we should be open with our both ears and we should be accepting our mistake. Not that, Prabhuji, this is not my mistake, this is not what I have done. Okay, sometimes the superiors might overlook, but we have done so many mistakes and we have not got the sufficient saza or punishment for it. We should take this as a punishment. The greatest one more example that reminds me is when I actually remember in Radha Damodar temple when Srila Prabhupada was giving his lectures. And at that time, all the sannyasis, they used to come and they used to sit down and listen to Radha Damodar lectures given by Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan. And at that particular point of time, I remember a greatest story that Loknath Maharaj once shared with us in Juhu, where he said one of the first instructions that he got from Srila Prabhupada was a chastisement. In fact, Loknath Maharaj was saying that he was sitting and somewhere he was a little nervous or something like that, and he was constantly shaking his leg. And Srila Prabhupada immediately came hard on him and he said, don't shake that leg. And at that time, everybody was waiting for a personal instruction from Srila Prabhupada. Anybody who gets a personal instruction, they used to keep it to heart. And Loknath Maharaj was a little confused that how come this is my personal instruction that don't shake your leg, and that came as heavy. And later Loknath Maharaj said that was one of the most beautiful, wonderful instruction that every time he said that I sit in Vyasasana, I remember Srila Prabhupada because of that instruction. Though it might be a chastisement, but it allows me to remember my Guru Maharaj, and that is a greatest boon. So Vaishnava's words sometimes might be very harsh, but it comes out like a boon to us. Similarly, here Brahma was there giving this boon to Valmiki, saying that Valmiki, do not worry, continue your writing. Valmiki then immediately said, I can write, but I have a small problem. He said, what is the problem? He said, how will I know what did Rama do in his initial days? Because I have I was meditating at that time. I was becoming a Valmiki, a Maharishi, and I do not know what will happen. So Brahma actually said, "Do not worry." He sprinkled his water on Valmiki and he said, just look into your palm, and when you look into your palm, you will get to know what is going to happen, what has happened, and what is happening right now. The Trikal Gyan, or the three past, present, and future, the knowledge of that will be known. If you just look into your palm, you will get to know all the clarities about Lord Ramchandra's life. In fact, Brahma also says a very small anecdote, and he whispers it into Valmiki's ears. He says, "Do you know? Actually, Lord Ramchandra called me privately, and he said somebody has to write my autobiography, and I think the best person is Valmiki. So you please take your swan and go to Valmiki's ashram and tell him to start writing Ramayana." So that is why I have come here. I have not come by my own decision. Rama has sent me. And that is the verse by which he again, now Narada, who is the son of Brahma, he actually has narrated the entire Ramayana. Again, Brahma also narrates Ramayana, and when he actually narrates Ramayana, then he starts learning about Lord Ramchandra's pastime, and then he starts with the beautiful shloka, Kosalo nama buditaha Sita janapato mahan nivishtas sarayu tire Prabhu Tadhana Dhanyavan. Kosala is the name of the kingdom. This is where now, after 4 days of lectures, we are now entering the first verse where now we are entering into Ramayana. Till now, we have been only seeing the prelude of Ramchandra's glories, why Ramayana was written, and here is Valmiki writing the first few verses. We have 7 more minutes. We will conclude with that today. And we thought that we will talk about appearance of Lord Ramchandra. We will try to reach there. We'll knock on the doors, but we'll wait for tomorrow's session. So what Valmiki writes is Kosalo Nama Muditaha. There was a great city which was known as Kosala. And if you look at this Kosala, it was not near Ganga or Yamuna, which was the river on the banks of which Kosala or Ayodhya was. Anybody knows the river? You can take special prasadam if you know the river.
Sarayu.
Perfectly right, Pramila Mataji. Correct. It is Sarayu Nadi on the banks of Sarayu. Many people think it is Ganga or Yamuna. It is not Ganga. It is not Yamuna. The name of the river is Sarayu. So, in fact, in the shloka, he says, Kosalo nama muditaha sapshipto janapado mahan nivishtaha Sarayu tire. Tire means on the banks of the river Sarayu there was this great kingdom called as Kosala, Prabhuta Dhana Dhanyavan. Everything in that particular country was resplendent with groceries and everything. Not like our lockdown, that one person has to go to the market and knock on the doors and said, Aata de do, and then he says, Aata nahi hai. Then he said, Chawal de do, bola chawal nahi hai. Prabhuji, 10 kilo de do, bola 2 kilo bhi nahi hai. This was not the case in Kosala. This was not the case in Saketpuri, which or this was not the case in Ayodhya. These are all the same names for the place called Ayodhya, where Lord Ramchandra will appear, where Dasharatha was the king. The Ishwaku Vamsha, or the lineage of Ishwakus, were reigning there. Many people write how was Ayodhya. Now that is a beautiful sight to see. Many travelers write when they entered Ayodhya and they looked into the sky, they would see large smoke. Now you might be thinking, what is this, Prabhuji? There also there is pollution. Here also in Chunabatti, Kurla and Mankhurd, when we go Cheetah Camp and all these places, we see only smoke and smoke and smoke. There also, Ayodhya also same problem, greenhouse gases. No, what is the smoke? Valmiki tells very clearly. The smoke is made of three things. Generally in a house, how is smoke prepared? Not this smoke that many people prepare, which is different Agni Hotra that people prepare. We are not allowed to do that. The smoke which used to come is lot of grihasthas used to do Agni Hotras. They used to do yajnas, based on which the smoke used to get formed from the yajna. Plus, Lot of people used to worship the Lord, and when they used to worship the Lord, the incense sticks will create a smoke. That smoke and this smoke will get added. And then when you go into the kitchen, the Matajis would be preparing wonderful vyanjan, wonderful bhoga for Lord Ramchandra. That smoke will also get mixed. So the herbs smell in the oven, plus the cooking pots and the beautiful vyanjan, what the bhogas that they are actually preparing for Lord Ramchandra, that smell will mix with the chandan and the karpur and the musk and the beautiful kasturi and kesar incense sticks. That smell will get mixed and it will go through the chambers of Kosala's kingdom. And you could see that not coming from one house. Every house will have smokes emanating, and that when it permeates into the streets, any person who is walking, he will get to know today gulab jamun is getting made, today today this boga is getting made, and they will get to know all the relishing of those wonderful smells. And this was how Kosala kingdom was. And all these rivers which were flowing, they would enter into Sarayu, and this Sarayu was never without water. There was no tanker business in Ayodhya. Recently, I was in Chennai, and in Chennai, whenever in the morning I used to go, I used to only see tankers going from one place to another. No wonder they are fighting for rivers to get unlocked from Kaveri and also in Karnataka, because river is the source of bliss for all the civilizations. Indus Valley civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, Egyptian civilizations, if you read history, all were settlements around the bank. Our Vedic civilization is also the same. Ayodhya was also settled down around the river of Sarayu, and then the camera shifts from the houses. So when you actually read Ramayana, if you really meditate closing your eyes, you can see the camera. The camera moves on top, looks at the smoke, takes a wide screen cut on the top. The sun is rising on the top, and on the end there is Sarayu river which is flowing, and the camera slowly pans towards the right. There is a great resplendent palace. It goes inside, just like our TOVP Mayapur. There are steps to the palace, and you go inside the palace, you get into the assembly, and the first character is introduced, who is actually a little old, but he is the reigning king of Kausala, or he is the reigning king of Ayodhya, and his name is Dasharath. And his name is Dasharath because he is Dasha Ratha. He is adept in actually riding the chariot in 10 directions. His actual name, if you look at his Aadhaar card in Kosala, when he goes out, if you look at his Aadhaar card, it will be written as Dharma Raja. Dharma Raja is his original name, not the Dharmaraj Yudhishthir. The Dasharath's original name is also called as Dharmaraja, but because of his skill of riding the chariot in all the 10 directions, he is called as Dasharath. He is sitting on the throne, and the camera pans there, and hence comes a small title at the bottom, to be continued tomorrow. So we will see from tomorrow what did this Dasharath do, what is the activity of Dasharath, what was the problem, was he a male chauvinistic person? Many people have scolded Dasharath that why did he do Putra Kameshti Yajna? Why didn't he do Putri Kameshti Yajna? Our Modi is again and again saying Beti Bachao, Beti Padao. Why didn't he ask for a girl? Why did he ask for a boy? Did he do that right? So we will see whether Dasharatha was male chauvinist, or was he also looking at the higher precepts. We will also see how the Putra Kameshti Yajna was done, who is Rishesingha, how was the payasam or the pudding given, how many wives did Dasharatha have, and what are the different activities, how was Lord Ramchandra appearing, and all these details we will see tomorrow. Apadamavattaram dadaram sarvasamadam लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्. श्री राम जय जय राम. जय सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान जी की जय. श्रीला प्रभुपाद की jai. So we stop here. So if there are any questions or comments, we can actually address them. Please go ahead. If there are any questions, comments, you can actually ask.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Yeah, Pratap Pro.
Guruji, can I know something more about Guha? Who exactly was he and what is the relation with him in Ramayana?
So Guha was actually the king of Nishadas. He was actually the Kevat or the boatman. His eternal role was not of a Kevat or a boatman, but Guha is known as the king of different races. For example, the Kshatriya race king was Lord Ramchandra. Similarly, there is actually cityscapes, that means city area, and there is actually country area. Even today, if you see, Mumbai is a city, but if you actually go inside like Latur and Aurangabad and many other places, Ahmedabad
Mhm.
and all other places, they are coming under rural Maharashtra. Similarly, there is something called as woods or forest areas. Like
Mhm.
even in Mumbai, we have different forest areas like Borivali National Park and other things,
Mhm.
right? So there are different sectors within a kingdom. So Guha was generally a forest dweller, and he was a Nishada race. So he was the king of Nishada race. So that is why, and but because he was a king of Nishada race, he was still inside the province of Kosala. So he had good relationships with Lord Ramchandra. In fact, he considered
Okay.
him almost like his friend. So that is
Okay.
why when Lord Ramchandra goes to Guha, Guha welcomes him like a king, and Ramchandra says, I am not a king because I have been banished from my kingdom. You are the king, and I am just your guest. So, but
Mhm.
Guha says, no, no, you are actually the king of the entire universe because you are Lord Vishnu himself. So,
Okay.
this is a wonderful relationship between Kevat and Lord Ramchandra. And we'll learn more about how Lord Ramchandra compares. In fact, the acharyas compare that both are great boatmen. How are both of them are great boatmen? Kevat or Guha carries Lord Ramchandra from one bank to another, but the transcendental job of Lord Ramchandra is to carry us as a boatman. His
Mhm.
names are the real boat to carry us from this material ocean to the spiritual world. So the job done by Lord Ramchandra is also of a boatman. The job
Mhm.
done by Kevat is also of a boatman. Hence, both are friends, says
Mhm.
Valmiki. So these are wonderful relationships between Kevat and Bhagwan Ramchandra. I hope that answers the question.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Any other question?
Prabhuji, can you tell me something about like there is some story behind how the river Ganga came to earth. So is there any story about Saryu River also, like how it came to Ayodhya?
In detail, it is, I will have to look into Padma Puran or
Uh-huh.
in Skanda Puran where it is given. Generally, the Sarayu and its previous how it flows.
Uh-huh.
But currently in Valmiki Ramayana, it just mentions on the top. But I
Okay.
can actually find out if there are any pastimes. If we get more time, we,
Yeah.
we will definitely go into how Sarayu was. There is no end to Ramayana. I mean,
Mhm.
every
Mhm.
character, every leaf, every house, if you pick up, you have stories.
Okay, sure, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Sridhar Murai bro.
Yes, as you said earlier in the lectures that there are many versions, I mean, thousands, more than 1,000 verses or more than that of Ramayana. So, I mean, are all versions authentic?
Wherever acharyas have commented are authentic. For example, the 18 Puranas in Skanda Purana, in Brahmanda Purana, in Padma Purana, also the versions of Ramayanas are mentioned. But generally, for the Kali Yuga audience, the acharyas pick and choose. It's like you go to a supermarket, there are many tomatoes, but the better half of yours will pick and choose the best ripe tomatoes because that is the one which will be the most tastiest for us. So while all of them are tomatoes, the best ones are the ripe ones which will be juicy and which will be wonderful for us to relish. So the acharyas have actually picked out and given special commentaries on certain parts. And if we actually take that, then we will be able to relish that better. So from that aspect, Valmiki Ramayana or Kamba Ramayana or Ramayana cited in certain Skanda Puranas or Padma Puranas are very, very great. Sometimes, as I said, these are Puranas. And if you go back to our initial understanding of Puranas, Pura api navam, old tales which are being said by other people. Sometimes there will be differences. For example, like I was reading today, for a certain cause, did Lord Ramchandra worship Lord Shiva? Some Puranas say he worshipped Lord Shiva and then he crossed the ocean. Some Puranas say he worshipped while going and also while coming back. Some Puranas say no, he did not worship while he was going, but while he was coming back, he worshipped. So there are some differences, but the main stream of knowledge is the same. So we should pick up wherever acharyas have commented, and hence those will form the authentic and the bona fide versions. Does that answer your question, Sridhar Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other question, comments? Okay. If there are no more questions, thank you very, very much for joining today. So I hope tomorrow we might have a break in our session, but I will leave the decision to you. Do you want to have a break or you want them to continue? I am okay to be available for tomorrow also, but some of the devotees were saying Sunday, do we have a break? So I just wanted to know. So what's the popular opinion? If you want, please on the chat say yes. And if you do not want the lecture, you want to have 1 day break and we start with Monday again, we can do that as well. So I'll just wait for your response. If you can just leave.